Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Brickyard here at the Stock Car Championship Series. Another day here, 200 laps, 500 miles, and double points on the line. One of the most iconic races here in motorsports. The Stock Car Championship Series has brought the action here to Indianapolis now for the second race in a row. First one being on the road course, won by Bobby Allison. That would be our sixth race of the season here at the 1/4 point now in race number 7. First of 4 races that will be worth double points. Kyle Busch still winless on the season, however leading the championship standings. As you mentioned, Bobby Allison, last week's winner, now sits second in the points. Could he look at getting a sweep here at Indianapolis? Not to mention likes Jimmie Johnson, Cale Yarborough, Bill Elliott, and Joey Logano. All been right there in the mix this season. But yeah, 200 laps here. Got extra 100 miles, 500 total. First of our crown jewel, the Twin Checkered Challenge. There will be a in-season championship of itself, but certainly will shape the championship itself for the rest of the season. This will set the tone and start to separate the pack. Let's go ahead and jump over to Kyle Busch out on track. Early morning here at Indianapolis, only just past 8 a.m. Qualifying will begin at 9 a.m. and the race kicks off at 10 a.m. But just under 7 minutes to go, just at 7 minutes to go in this practice session. After that, we will get to qualifying. It'll be 4 laps. See if the drivers choose to use all 4, or if we see a couple only use 1 or 2 laps and try to get a 4th one in. And after that, we'll get right to the race itself. Back here we got Jimmie Johnson, 27th quick. See a lot of single file green flag action here at the Brickyard. Really a testament to those who keep their pace over the long run and save their tires. We'll find our quickest on the time charts. That would be this guy right here, Kevin Harvick, 54 or 53.265 on his 4th lap right now, already about a second off. So seems like that first lap will be everything for this qualifying coming up in just about over 5 minutes time now. Kevin Harvick looking quick. He's got Tony Stewart 7th fastest right up ahead. Chase Elliott 2nd quick, and Terry Labonte the top 3. So I got Joey Logano and Davey Allison rounding out the top 5. That camera shot is not working with the fog we currently have out there. Should be lifting though before we get to the race. See if we can find any close action out on track. You see the car up ahead here, the all black. That is actually going to be Kurt Busch. And unfortunately something happened with his paint scheme and did not get updated, so we'll have to check that again for the next race in a few weeks' time. Here with Ken Schrader, Darrell Waltrip. Ken Schrader currently rounding out the championship standings, so hoping for a good run here today with double points at stake. Could really be a big race for drivers like him who are mired back in the pack. You see the great shot of the cars there, different lines they take. Schrader went a bit wide. Jeff Burton might be hitting pit lane, indeed he is. See Martin, he's moving up on these guys pretty quick. Passing Darrell Waltrip into turn 1. It's the first pass we've seen in this practice session. I know there have been passes, but first we've seen. It's good to know that it can happen. Darrell on similar tire life, say, just one lap difference between the two. Cale Larson currently 36th, and Bobby Allison second in points. Last week's winner 38. So hoping they can get it turned around in time for qualifying. Bobby Labonte right behind these guys, going to get a pretty good tow, I think. Keep an eye on this 18 car. This could be a pretty quick lap, and Darrell Waltrip down low. Not sure if he tried to make a pass and had to check up. Just 2 minutes left though in practice. Track temperature very low right now, only 69 degrees. This is going to hurt Bobby Labonte's lap, having Waltrip run the line he has been. I'm not quite sure. Maybe he missed pit entry the lap before. But definitely hurt Bobby on that one. See what lap he gets, 54.5, well off. So let's go back to Kevin Harvick. Quickest overall. See what he could do in qualifying if he can back up this performance in warm-up. Matt Kenseth has moved up, or he was there already, so not much has changed. And actually, since the opening minutes of practice, track starting to wear in, and see Matt Kenseth closing up on Harvick a bit as he has fresher tires. Oh, 0.8 quicker that last time by. There's the 17 car. We got Chase Elliott back about 5 seconds coming out on track. Won't be enough time to get a lap in. Maybe get some scuffed tires, but Harvick's coming down pit lane. Comes Kenseth. Looks like he'll get one extra lap, should he choose. I don't think Chase is gonna get there in time. Nope.
That's the end of practice.
Up ahead here is Matt Kenseth. Jump back one more time to Happy Harvick. Happy to be quickest in practice. Let's see if we can get some extra sunlight and temperature into this track and what kind of lap times we'll see. 53.265 was quickest here in practice. Great shot down the backstretch. And a bit of cloud cover, in fact, here for qualifying. Track temperatures lower. Hopefully that helps with the shading on the nose. No, it's still a little funky there on Kevin Harvick's car. Getting here to the first lap, though, for the 29 in qualifying. Sun trying to peek out, but not going to be much of an impact here for these drivers. See a lot of time out of the gas for the 29, especially on exit. Not what you want to hear. See if we can adjust these shading settings a bit more after the run is over. But down the front stretch off of turn 4. Who will be quickest on lap 1? This could be the quickest lap for every driver. I'm not sure we'll see a quicker second lap for many of them. 52.613 is quickest, and that's going to put Harvick, though, at a 53.020 burst mid-pack. Not at all what he was hoping for. Here's first, the King at Indy. Trying to get a win at the Brickyard. Can Richard Petty put it on pole? Right now, quickest by 100th over Joey Logano. Pearson and Cale Yarborough right there on the second row as of now. See what they do off of 4. Second lap. We do see some going quicker. Petty does not go quicker and drops to mid-pack. Meanwhile, Denny Hamlin now fastest off of turn 2. 52.351. Pearson keeping quick. Second still. Truex Jr. and Bill Elliott, Jeff Gordon, Keselowski, Kowicki, Bobby Allison, Cale Yarborough, Kyle Busch, your points leader. That is the top 10. Wow. Separated by just over a tenth. Here's lap number 3. .5, still a quick one. Logano jumps up into 3rd. Kyle Busch up into 7th. Harvick, who was quickest in practice, 29 car, sits 29th. It's a lot of work to do. I don't know. I mentioned it in the last lap, but I do not think we'll see a quicker fast lap from anyone this time around. Hamlin looking strong, putting that number 11 Joe Gibbs Toyota, it's showing a Monte Carlo actually. 52.6 that last lap, still pretty quick. And no one else going quicker, so Hamlin will be on pole here at the Brickyard for 500 miles here in just a moment. Take a look at the starting lineup. All right. Apologize for the delay there. Let's take a look now at the starting lineup. See Hamlin, Pearson, Logano, Truex, Bill Elliott, the top 5. Jeff Gordon, Kyle Busch, Brad Keselowski, Kowicki, and Bobby Labonte, the top 10. So we have Richard Petty a little further back, Kyle Larson. Yeah, Kevin Harvick, quickest in practice. Going to be starting 29th. Not what he was hoping for. But we'll check with Denny Hamlin here, and we'll go through the starting lineup. See where your favorite driver is going to take off here at Indianapolis momentarily for 500 miles. Double points on the line at the Brickyard.
Greeting started. 4 minutes, 55 seconds
Track
before green.
temp getting a little higher, up to 72 now. You see the sun peeking through more and more. So I got a lot of strange glitching going on with these cars. Could be causing this. See if we can fix this one more second. I wonder if it's the shadow map filter. All right. So we'll go through the field here. Hopefully it's fixed. If not, we'll try to get it for you next race. There's Denny Hamlin and David Pearson on the front row. Joey Logano, Martin Truex. Third row, Bill Elliott and Jeff Gordon. Iconic number 24. You got your points leader, Kyle
3 minutes
Busch.
left now.
And Brad Keselowski in the fourth row. Fifth row, Alan Kulwicki and Bobby Labonte. And there's Davey Allison and Cale Yarborough. Cale Yarborough definitely has a good shot here. His type of track. See Bobby Allison, last week's winner. Second in points. Thought Richard Petty was going to be a lot closer to the front. See back here with Matt Kenseth, the mid-pack. And you'll notice the all-black, unsponsored, no-number car here. That will be Kurt Busch. Unfortunately, something happened to his paint, and we'll have to get that fixed for the next race. Here's Kevin Harvick, probably the most disappointing of all the qualifying laps. He was quickest in practice and was at the top towards the least for a minute and just did not improve. So a lot of work to do for that team. And further back, see the last row. Inside, Ricky Rudd, and on the outside, Harry Gant, rounding out the 40 car field here in the Stock Car Championship Series. About to get going at the Brickyard.
This should be an 8-stopper with earliest pit on lap 15. Rear time's up. Pace car about to move.
And there they are, about to cross the bricks and get this pace lap underway. See the shadow of the pagoda looming large over the start-finish line. That's your field as they make their way by. Logano has a real good opportunity starting up front to capitalize. Kyle Busch isn't far behind. However, it is difficult to pass here. Most all positions, I think, will be made up in pit lane. Only our second time here, though, at the Brickyard. First time for 500 miles, so that is going to be exciting, tacking on an extra 100 for these legendary drivers of stock car racing. All right, field is formed up, about to go green. Off turn 4. Denny Hamlin.
Pace car back in.
Green flags out. Good jump by the pole sitter, Denny Hamlin. He'll fly down into one. A lot of sliding. Old tires. Hamlin pulling a gap early. So they're almost 3 wide heading into turn 3. Martin Truex on the outside. Gotta hold it here as Pearson has to check up, and that's going to back up that whole outside line with Jeff Gordon and Alan Kawicki. Logano free of the traffic. He's in second, trying to stay with the leader, Hamlin. Meanwhile, in the back, it is just non-stop battles through the field. Oh, wow. Bill Elliott and Chase Elliott both going wide. Seems everyone makes it through. There's Jeff Gordon currently sitting about 10th place. Pearson, who started second, back to 8th. Oh, that outside line not working for the 17. You see now the top 7 have broke away single file. Sitting third is your points leader, Kyle Busch. Second is Joey Logano. Bill Elliott looking for 6. Oh, just barely clear of the 18, and there's contact back here. Whoa, my goodness, Chase Elliott completely sideways with Cale Yarborough. The entire back of the field now 2x2 stacked up. Dangerous moment. They're almost 3 wide off of turn 1. On this pack, it is fierce here. 15th on back. See Harvick making up quite a few spots early on that inside line. The outside is just an absolutely terrible place to be at this moment. Cale Yarborough cannot hold it even to the outside line. He's going too far high, costing them even more time. And now every car just getting by. Mark Martin desperate to find a way inside. Let's go on board the 6. See just how much he's being held up by the 28. So things may start to single file out as we get on board the 6 car. Can he get clear of Kyle Petty by turn 3? It doesn't seem so. Nice run by the 42. Kyle Petty picking up 2 spots in turn 4. Oh, we got a car in the wall. Looks like maybe Chase Elliott.
P12, car 09. Chase Elliott needs to pit for repairs.
And Cale Yarborough actually got stuck behind him. Keep an eye here on Chase. Make sure he gets to pit lane. That car is severely damaged. See if we can find what happened last time by. There's Tony Stewart. Stewart goes up high, crowds chasing. He just overcorrects into the wall. Not even that big a contact, but enough to put him out of this, at least contention for the win. Here's your top three. Kyle Busch trying to chase down Logano and Hamlin. Everybody running pretty consistent, similar lap times. Hamlin a bit quicker though that time by. Keselowski, Truex, Bill Elliott, Bobby Allison. Keselowski trying to hold off Truex, who is quicker. And then you got Bill Elliott, Bobby Allison side by side. Not entirely sure what the fuel tanks look like on these Cup cars, so interesting to see when we start our first pit cycle. There's Kurt Busch, again in that all-black car, getting by Earnhardt Jr. Getting in some good laps, now he's got some clean air. Good run for Neil Bonnet, who started well back in the field. A lot of drivers in the back just could not get to the bottom of the track and are just about 38th place, like Richard Petty, Bobby Allison, Cale Yarborough. These guys have, I don't know how they're going to make that time up. Not a lot of attrition at a race like this. Chase Elliott, however, victim early on. Not sure if he's still on track. Comes David Pearson. Pretty quick up on the 7. Terry Labonte also down pit lane. Couple cars getting repairs. Back and forth between these two for third, or fourth actually. Kyle Busch has gotten by Joey Logano. 2 seconds back now of the lead. Great battle between these two. Probably see them near the end of the season for the championship, and this is a big moment in that championship story. Who's gonna come out on top in this one? Kyle Busch seems to be pulling away here. Still very early on in this race though. 190 laps to go. Kawicki, Davey Allison, that's side by side. These guys battling for 9th, 10th, and 11th. And Kurt Busch just putting down some killer lap times right now. I think he might have something to this no decals on the car. It's making his car super sleek and aerodynamic, and 53.9 that last time by. Pit stops already. Wow. That's going to be a lot of pit stops here today if that is what's happening. All right. Back to the somewhat front. It's Gordon looking with Bobby Labonte. I'm going to go back to our pit lane camera. See, there's Joey Logano is one of them. There's Terry Labonte back on track. Bill Elliott. Tony Stewart. And look at this. This is Chase Elliott now coming back on track. And I think Denny Hamlin has come down pit lane. He has. Cale Yarborough. Oh my goodness. Here's Denny Hamlin. I'm going to keep an eye on Denny. See how this plays out. But we got a lot of battling going on back there too with Mark Martin. So we'll check that out in a moment. Stay with Denny. There goes Terry Labonte. Logano coming around turn 1. 4.5 seconds back currently. 4 seconds now through turn 2 where he'll gain more time as Hamlin now accelerates down the back. Big lead for the 11. All right, so it begins. There's your leader now, Kyle Busch. He's got a 4.5 second lead back to Truex, and then Keselowski in third. Good battle here for fourth, though, with Bobby Labonte and Jeff Gordon through turn 3. Gordon looks to be quicker, trying the outside and gonna get there. Have the run down the front stretch. Nice pass. See if we can run back real quick again. Mark Martin, he was having a heck of a battle not too long ago, but things have kind of quieted down now. Here's Kevin Harvick up in 14th, running behind Greg Biffle. And 29 was quickest in practice, but did not produce a good qualifying result. Starting 29th, up 15 spots. Now make it still 15. Can't get by the 16 for 16th. But still having a heck of a run early on. There's Mark Martin. You see in the background here a few huge names. Not just Mark Martin, but you go a little further back. Look at that. You got Dale Earnhardt in 23rd, which really is further back than that. I mean, Richard Petty, Jimmie Johnson, Bobby Allison, I believe is technically last on track. That's crazy. There's Logano. Truex leaving pit lane, trying to blend out with Bill Elliott, it looks like. Elliott got the speed off of 2. All right, Hamlin, Logano, Bill Elliott, of those that pitted, that's your top 3. They pit real early. It's interesting. I'm trying to understand the strategy this early on. They just know there may not be any cautions, but we've had 2 incidents so far. So it's not out of the question. Let's take a look. Find the 5 car. What happened? Terry Labonte. They're coming up on the traffic. Oh, just runs through the back. Look at the blimp here. And that explains the pace of Bobby Allison. Ooh. Yeah, that's a big hit. Did not see that originally. And it explains a lot. Denny Hamlin running a 54.0. Logano 54.1. Bill Elliott 54.1. Here comes Truex though, a bit quicker. Trying to chase Bill Elliott down. .55 last time by for the leader. And right now, Hamlin doing a 54.0. There he is, Kyle Busch. Coming up on the lap, 20. Does he stay out? Looks like he is. So taking across the line, that'll be the start of lap number 20 for the M&M Camry. And look at this gap. Gordon got by Labonte, now closing on Keselowski for technically second. And then hoping he can make up a lot of distance during this pit sequence. Great race between these three. Bobby Labonte having an incredible season. I think unexpected, to say the least. Been running top 10 most every race and continues to be strong in the point standings despite not having a win. There goes Gordon on Keselowski. Into turn 1, oh, he backs out of it. But letting him know he's looking. Until nobody is saving anything here. Just clean air. And trying to track down the next pack of cars is all that is on Gordon's mind. 500 miles be damned. Gordon normally one for maybe a bit of patience, but also obviously his racecraft understands maybe this is the time of the race. He cannot let Kyle Busch continue to grow his lead, so looks like he may actually even be coming to pit road as Kyle Busch makes the turn. Keselowski, everybody coming in. Does anyone stay out? Is this 20 is the maximum for a fuel tank? Oh, here we go. Ernie Irvin, he's staying out. Extra lap for some of the back markers, getting a little extra tow and draft off the bigger pack in front of them. There's Denny Hamlin, cross start finish line into turn 1. There's the gap. Kyle Busch out of pit lane. They got 10 lap difference on tires, so right now it's just going to be about probably a 6-second lead or maybe 7. And Kyle should be clear of his teammate and Bill Elliott, who are battling very hard here for about what would be 5th place, I believe. Kyle Busch now 7.5 seconds. That's the gap. This is like Kyle Petty staying out, the only car to make it the 21 laps. So it'll be 22 by the time he hits pit lane. Interesting to see what kind of lap Kyle Busch has this time by. Already got the gap down a little bit. Minimal, but nonetheless, it is noticeable already. Denny Hamlin with the quickest lap of the race, a 53.505. There's Joey Logano. And Kyle Busch. .8 compared to 54.3 for the leader, and then 54.1 for Logano. Exact lap times for 4th and 5th of 54.397. So, Kyle Busch, now's the time to make up ground on the top two that are on a different strategy. Further back, there's Bobby Labonte and Jeff Gordon. Stuck at the moment behind Bobby Allison, but yeah, Bobby was able to get by Gordon on the pit stop, so that's interesting. They try to get back in touch with Keselowski, who pulled away, in fact. Here's Pearson. Also got, Chase Elliott, who had repairs. Neil Bonnet and Matt Kenseth side by side down the front stretch. No give, all take at the moment. Kenseth looks like he's going to get clear off of 2. Bonnet may be content with just riding behind for a moment. You don't want to use up too much of your rubber early on in a run. You got to save it, doing that 20-lap stint. Kyle Petty and Kevin Harvick side by side, as well as Dale Jarrett and Dale Earnhardt Jr. The 8 and the 88. Currently running 23rd, 24th. So Hamlin and Logano, other guys that did pit early on, now have surpassed their first pit window. See if they go the full 20. There's Bobby Allison with a lot of damage on that right front. Probably has some rear end damage as well. Still ahead of Darrell Waltrip though. Ken Schrader trying to hold off Cale Yarborough. Also has damage, you can see. Maybe they can get a caution, help repair those fenders, and Mark Martin not having a good day. Look at this. Richard Petty, Dale Earnhardt, and Jimmie Johnson are technically the last 3 cars on track. That's shocking. And there's your top 3. Hamlin, Logano, Kyle Busch. 54.3 for Hamlin, 54.6 for Logano, and a 54.1 for Kyle Busch. Right now, Kyle Busch and Tony Stewart quickest amongst the leaders. Tony Stewart coming up on a pit stop soon, while Kyle Busch still only about a quarter of the way through his fuel tank. Battle continues though for 4th. Bill Elliott and Martin Truex remains undecided. Truex kind of split the strategies. Interesting. Working out for him at the moment. I don't believe anyone's going to go for shortstop again. There's Jeff Gordon. Oh, big battle here for 10th. It's like Labonte's struggling a bit. Gonna lose a couple spots. And Jeff Gordon has gotten by Bobby Allison, moving back up through the top 10 again. But Kurt Busch in the all-black car that you see there on your screen, looking to get the Sharpie logos back on the car for time for next week. I believe at Road America. Oh, Tony Stewart on pit lane. There we go. 17 laps for Smoke. Here's Denny Hamlin down into turn 3. Through the short chute. 3.5 seconds is the gap between him and second. 4.5 to third, so it's come down almost 3 seconds, and now Logano's pitting. Worst case scenario for Hamlin, because that was just about to be a bit of a pick or a block for him. It had no effect. 54.1 to a 54.39. Does Hamlin come in this time by or try for another 2 laps? Tony Stewart out of the pits just ahead. Currently, Terry Labonte down 3 laps. Chase Elliott down 6 laps. Yeah, Hamlin staying out. I think that's the right call. There's Kyle Busch off of 4. What are the lap times this time around? 54.3 again. And another 54.1. Just chipping away. Kyle Busch very consistent right now. Battle between Kurt Busch, Labonte, and Kowicki has settled down for the moment. As now Bobby focuses back on Kurt. Jeff Gordon trying to close back down on Keselowski. 7/10 quicker that last lap. These first 50 laps just finding their rhythm. Trying to make the right calls. There's Bill Elliott, Kurt Busch down pit lane. Keselowski, though, just having an incredible day, even being up as far in the standings as he is. Hamlin must have pit as the leader now is Kyle Busch. Truex, he also pits, split the strategy again. See how that works out for the 19 team. A couple cars on pit lane. It was Cale Yarborough and Kevin Harvick. And Kurt Busch exiting pit lane just in front of brother Kyle. Let's see if Kurt can get up to speed enough to maintain his lead lap. I think he should be good by the time they get to turn 1 next time around. Those tires will be more up to temperature. Kyle Busch kind of missed turn 3 as well. Going back a bit, Jeff Gordon has got to the rear spoiler of Keselowski now, looking for a way by. Might be able to get a run down the back stretch if he can keep it close through the short chute and off turn 2. See Kenseth exiting pit lane right in front of these guys. Gonna make it a little more interesting. Kenseth, though, will be quicker in about a half a lap. Outside. Wow. Side by side with Kenseth down the front stretch. There's Kyle Busch one more time back up front. He has got a 8.8 second lead at the moment. Track down. Good old Denny Hamlin again. Now he's back in the fold. Came out in front of Earnhardt Sr. and Jimmie Johnson. There's Logano. He's stuck in some pretty heavy traffic. Then got Stewart and Bill Elliott. Bill Elliott has closed that gap, as has Truex. And Keselowski and Gordon might be side by side. Yeah, Gordon, he's got it into turn 3. Second place for the 24. Still 9.5 seconds up the track. Feels like an eternity to come back at this point. It's almost a full straightaway that Gordon will have to just slowly chip into. It's got to be methodical. Track temp up a few degrees, 76 despite the cloud cover. Gordon pulling away now on Keselowski. Pass was certainly warranted, and Keselowski, I think, knew it, didn't put up too much of a fight, but did make it a little more difficult than Gordon may have hoped. Looks like Bobby Allison now closing up. Not sure he'll get there in time for the next round of stops. Kowicki here up in the top 5 at the moment. Kind of been in his own time zone. No mistakes, no drama. steadily hanging out around the top 5 and 10. Not much quicker that time for Gordon, only a 10th. One-fifth of the way into this incredible race so far. No cautions. It's like closing back up again now on Kurt Busch. Kurt Busch on a different strategy, does not need a pit for another 14 laps perhaps, but pit strategies are kind of everywhere at the moment. Lead continues to come down. Like, no question now, I think we can tell that Gordon is one of the quicker cars here today, tracking down the leader. These guys needing to make a stop probably this lap. Here comes Gordon. No one blinks yet. That time by Kyle Busch actually quicker than anyone else, so can't explain that too much. Kyle just flying even out front. Looks like the 18's coming down. So is Jeff Gordon. Keselowski, however, staying out. Late call comes down. Who's the first to stay out? Here comes Rusty. Neil Bonnet. Greg Biffle. Ernie Irvin extending it again. Great run for the Ford team. Clint Boyer right behind there in second now. Technically these guys running about 25th, but under this exchange, able to capitalize. Here he comes, Kodak machine. I think this is going to bring everybody except Denny Hamlin. Oh, the lead to Joey Logano has come down significantly. You know, it's been getting held up in that group. Logano only 1 second back, and Kyle Busch, who just pit, is only 2.5. And you got Bill Elliott and Martin Truex Jr. I'm just very surprised. Big turn of events here, but Denny Hamlin still leads. These guys could potentially track him down, though. Yellow. Caution is out for debris.
Pace car left the pit.
Hamlin leading. So we just had a caution here for debris after pit stops. See who the lucky dog is going to be. Terry Labonte. Now, who pits from the front of the field? We have a few cars near the end of the fuel run. Pretty even split. Maybe a few more coming down pit lane than others expected. There's Hamlin and Logano. Points leader Kyle Busch in third. Just pit 2 laps ago, but wanting to get fuel is the call. Going with tires. I'm very surprised by this. So the top 16 stayed out on track. One of those being Bobby Allison. Could be a huge call for the 12 team. Should be going green next time by, or getting the one to go this time by, and then green flag in about a lap and a half. Remember the start of the race, the inside line had a lot of trouble in the first 5 laps. Once it started to get single file, was only then some of these guys could get to the bottom. A lot of cars having to check up and causing other impact. So cars making a way around turn 2 with 1 to go. Pace lights are out on the pace car. Gordon, Keselowski, Labonte, those 3 have been really racing together quite a bit today. And you got Kowicki and Pearson. Pearson, great start position on outside of the front row, but fell back early. Now with the pit stops, finds himself in the mix again. Also got Neil Bonnet, Greg Biffle, Ricky Rudd. These guys not typically at the front. And Bobby Allison, second in points. It's a toss-up right now. Denny Hamlin, who's led every lap so far, mired, probably guessing around 20th. Here we go.
Focus now.
About to get the green flag.
Pace car in. Get ready to race.
There it is. Green flags in the air. Back on the way here at Indianapolis in the Brickyard 400 at the 1/4 mark of this race. The 1/4 mark of this season. Double points here. Everything can change at Indianapolis. Where we saw contact earlier. Those cars are close spot. Almost 3 wide into 3. Kowicki thought about it. Pearson almost went through with it. And meanwhile, Jeff Gordon has nearly a 2-second lead. Still side by side, close racing for third on back. You see where Kyle Busch and Logano are a little further back in your screen, trying to navigate their way back to the front. Along with Denny Hamlin. Outside of Ken Schrader. Let's go on board the 11 again. Let's see how it's looking now. A little more traffic. We were on board the with Mark Martin earlier, so this is the first time with the 11. You see the run, big run off the turn 2. Allows him to close up on Bobby Allison, who also has a good shot at the inside with Earnhardt, but backs out. Earnhardt looking on his son, Earnhardt Jr., there into 3. Almost 3 wide. Hamlin thinks better. Bobby Allison on 12-lap tires right now, doing really well. Cale Jr. has 7 laps on his. Same with Senior. So Hamlin pushing Bobby Allison to the front. Ooh. Earnhardt's closing the door and cutting off the air on the 12. That is disaster for Hamlin as Logano gets to the outside. Can Hamlin get by Bobby Allison? Down the front stretch, Hamlin now clear of that traffic. Bobby Allison in his rearview mirror. See if we can take a look back at the action behind him, and it is fierce. Side by side through much of the field, 15th on back. See, Bobby Allison does still have a bit of damage. This Logano and Stewart side by side. Big pass for Stewart if he could pull that off. Up front, Jeff Gordon continues to lead. Quickest lap of the race as well. He has put a 3-second gap between himself and Keselowski, and it has about a half second over Bobby Labonte. That's your top 3. Right now we're looking at 15th place Joey Logano and Tony Stewart. This guy's pulling away from the pack as it still shows a single file out. Kyle Busch in this mix. Really just can't get out of here, and we're losing a ton of spots. The 18. Don't know how he's gonna make this back up. He got stuck on that inside line. Bobby Labonte in third, looking for second on Keselowski. Side by side here for 6th place. Kowicki looking on Biffle with Waltrip trying to decide who to follow. Earnhardt's found this group as well, significantly quicker. That's an understatement. They're running 55, 7, 6, and 5, while Earnhardt ran at 54.3. Sorry, up front. For a second, Bobby Labonte had a shot. Another shot out of the field coming through turn 1 now. Here's your leader. Hanging out with Jeff Gordon for a bit. It's like for a afternoon drive with the 4 seconds up on the field, running a half-second quicker lap to lap. It's got another 6 or so laps before he got a pit and no pressure in the stop. Rusty Wallace up into the top 5 for the 2 car. Haven't seen him in the top 5 much this season, so hopefully he can put it all together, put a bow on this one, and bring it home for the Miller Lite fan base. Oh, side by side here. Look at that. Waltrip trying to get by Kowicki. He's dropping a little bit. And Earnhardt, not one to wait around too much. He's eager to get by both Kowicki and Waltrip. Huge shakeup though right now in the standings of this race, trying to really figure out where everyone currently stands. And the pit strategies are not too different anymore, so any advantages are kind of wiped clean, especially for those like Hamlin, Logano, Kyle Busch. Those guys that were leading early on are now kind of screwed over in a sense by that caution. I don't know why some of them decided to pit again, but Logano gonna get by Earnhardt Jr. looks like on the outside. Someone that really helped was Richard Petty. Richard Petty was unfortunately going to have a pretty rough go today, salvaging early on up into the top 20. Kyle Busch in 20th. Now clear of a few cars, can try to start picking them off one by one. He's got Bobby Allison in front. Kenseth very quick behind him, as well as Martin Truex. Bill Elliott still back here. Taking a look at our ticker at the top of the screen, also see Jimmie Johnson and Kyle Larson mired pretty far back in the standings. Cale Yarborough. And now Bobby Allison actually even showing as a lap down. Let's take a look behind the 12 car. Yeah, he looks like he got the outside wall now. Oh, it was a scheduled stop. Yeah. But with that damage, it is rough going for Bobby Allison. Here's the battle again for second, and Rusty Wallace losing a bit of time. Still holding up in front of Pearson. There's Joey Logano. Trying to keep touch with Denny Hamlin. Nice to get back to the bottom for turn 4. Big move. Tony Stewart should be able to get by the 21 down the front stretch. Side by side through turn 2. Looks like Stewart's not going to be able to get it done, but behind him, Richard Petty getting by Dale Jarrett on the outside. Bubba Wallace kind of been running with Richard Petty, learning a lot today. There's Kyle Busch in 20th. Has not been able to make up any more ground since this kind of became single file. So I was hoping to pick them off one by one, kind of, but it's not working out as he had hoped. Here's Denny Hamlin. First car on the strategy of those that pit under the caution. He has 1.5 seconds back to Joey Logano. Jeff Gordon well out front at the moment. It's got another half second. Oh, wow. Not that time by. Bobby Labonte got by. So second is now Bobby Labonte. You see the time 54.5. So quicker than Jeff Gordon. But Keselowski, meanwhile, 55.0. Tires going away on the 06. They are cooked, as they say. Rusty inside. Trying to get by, but Keselowski not making it easy. They're going to lose a bit of time if they keep this up, too. Should be clear off 4. 2 car in front. Up to 3rd. Nice move by Rusty Wallace. Now can get back to work with Bobby Labonte. See if they can crack a little time into Gordon's lead. 54.8. Same for Labonte that time by. So you do see that they have the pace, but now look at this. Keselowski bringing it back on Rusty Wallace at the end of this run. Rusty not going to be able to hold the high line. Here is Bobby Labonte keeping the car out. Looks like everyone's still staying out on track. Here's Dale Earnhardt. Up into 8, looking on Darrell Waltrip. And 2 spots back, there's Denny Hamlin. Now 3.5 seconds up on Logano. Gap continues to close. Hamlin needs to get by soon. A lot of pit stops happening, but this is holding up the 11 car. Logano coming down. I think that's a little early. Now they are on the same pit cycle as everyone else and could hurt the 22 in the long run. Earnhardt Sr. getting by Mark Martin on his way out. Looks like someone made a bit of a trek through the grass there. The black flag potentially. David Pearson looking now on Keselowski for the lead. I understand Kyle Busch and Bobby Labonte have pit. There's Earnhardt Jr. and Richard Petty. I don't think Richard's coming in. Yeah, King keeping that 43 out front. See if he can lead a lap. Does he get there before Keselowski? He will. And lap led by the 43. Not a good lap, though, for 55.9 is one of the worst I think we've seen all day. Track temps now up to 79. Looks like he's coming in now. Bringing that 43 STP Pontiac down pit lane. Here's Jeff Gordon. Gonna be the leader. Followed by Bobby Labonte, who's 7 seconds back. And if I'm not mistaken, that's Bobby Allison in 4th. Oh my. See how that plays out. Joey Logano looking to get a lap in. .654. Lap 69 underway. It's 10 seconds here on the battle for third. It's a bit of a ways up to Jeff Gordon at the moment. And Kyle Busch dominated early, and now you're seeing it from Gordon. Ooh, close there with teammates. Former teammates, I should say. Really sending himself into the wall there, Joey Logano. Here's Bobby Labonte. Big task at hand to track down this man, Jeff Gordon. Rainbow Warrior number 24, DuPont Chevy. Putting it down early on. 7.8 second lead. There he is. Now they're side by side for what will be 4th. Logano already pulling away. Bobby Allison's struggling here. 10 lap older tires than everyone around him, and they are getting by in a hurry. Probably knew they'd be quicker, but pulled them off a little better than this. Worked out for the first 10 laps, it seems. Now Hamlin, 130 laps to go, has gotten back to 6th. And he was devastated by what happened to his race in that caution. Trying to pick up the pieces and salvage at least, if not a top 10, maybe top 5. Could even get back in the conversation for a win before it's said and done. We got Tony Stewart and Martin Truex Jr. back here. These guys were racing in the top 5 early on. Kenseth. So Richard Petty, Kyle Larson side by side for 29th with Kyle Busch, Davey Allison, and Jimmie Johnson there. This is all around 30th. And seeing those names all simultaneously around 30th is just insane. Here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway in the Brickyard 500. We're approaching the halfway point, slowly but surely. Been entertaining so far, especially through the, let's say, 3rd through 38th. The lead has grown significantly in each run. So right now, Jeff Gordon enjoying an 8-second gap between himself and Bobby Labonte. Earlier it was Kyle Busch, and for that, Denny Hamlin. There's Larson. Kyle Busch hoping he can keep up as Jimmie Johnson's fallen back to Richard Petty now. Larson looks like he might be able to move forward in the field a bit. He's got a quick car right now. But again, this is well back in the field. I need a miracle, I think, to get back in the conversation of a win. This is more back towards 10th place now with Earnhardt Sr. closing up on Bobby Allison. It's just kind of been falling through the rankings here. Kowicki going inside, though. And Kowicki sends Earnhardt in the wall. Earnhardt saves it. How bad's the damage? Kowicki and Earnhardt contact in turn 1. Yeah, struggling there. The 3 car looking for fresh air to see how it's handling, but has to get back in line for the corner, see how he handles here with now Earnhardt Jr. right behind him. I think we're going to see the 3 car hit pit lane. Limping around. Big moment for the 3 team. Cannot keep the car really stable on entry. It's just all over the place, and now holding up his son / teammate in the process. So see what happens this time by with the 3 car. It's too much. Yeah, he's got to come. Better shot at the damage is significant on the right front. Down to his box here. That will be costly. Meanwhile, up front, 7.7 seconds remains the gap between first and second. And Joey Logano up to third. Not closing, though, on the top 2. Then you got Keselowski and Rusty Wallace rounding out the top 5. Go one more car back, and it's Denny Hamlin getting back into the conversation again. Kind of feels like he had the lead stolen from him in a way, like, and I agree. So, who knows how far out front he could be with Gordon at the moment. Here's Kowicki. Bit of controversy surrounding this 7 car right now. Side-to-side contact into turn 1. Bernard Sr. Potentially putting an end to the Intimidator's championship aspirations. Not intentional or anything that would warrant a penalty. I don't even think a warning, in fact. Just a racing incident in turn 1 at Indianapolis. It's a tough corner. Tony Stewart now trying to get by Bobby Allison, and he will. Let's just keep shuffling Bobby back with that damage and older tires too. Bobby should be in any lap now. Carl Edwards, look at this. A good run right behind his Roush teammate. And another Roush car, 17. And the 97 of Kurt Busch behind him. So all the Roush cars right in a row. Sitko and Valvoline going at it. Battle of the barrels. And Kevin Harvick has just not been able to reproduce that practice pace he had. Teammate right behind him, Quentin Boyer. And go back a little further. That's Kyle Petty, Kyle Larson, and Ricky Rudd. Rudd looking inside on Larson. Nice pass by Ricky Rudd. Here's a good battle. Kyle Busch, Richard Petty, Bubba Wallace, and Jimmie Johnson. Lap 80, 2/5 of the way through this race. These guys were battling. Well, Kyle was battling for the lead. Petty and Jimmie Johnson have had a terrible run so far. Been mired back almost the entirety of this race. Find themselves back in 28th and 30th again after being about 16 for a moment. Looking for a way by Bubba Wallace on the outside. Bill Elliott, he really got shuffled back as well. Jeff Burton running 33rd. And here's Cale Yarborough, 35th. Oof, not a good run. Cale Yarborough and Bobby Allison, potential to have big races today. Just not what they were hoping for. Let's take a look at the field as they make their way through the short chute into turn 2. Once the camera decides to one moment. There we go. Sorry for that. Bill Elliott looking on Matt Kenseth a little further back. Or no, that's Bubba Wallace. Pardon me. Here's battle for 4th, 5th, and 6th. Pit stops hanging in the balance. Lingering not too far ahead. Keselowski's had a great run here today. Just quick car, been up front for the majority of the first half of this race. Yeah, Rusty Wallace here too, just doing great in top 10 and moving up forward to the top 5. Just not the flashiest guy, but very methodical. Every pit sequence just kind of getting closer and closer to the front. Got Denny Hamlin closing in, but Denny just kind of not setting the pace, but definitely showing the most muscle so far out there, I would say. Dropping back a bit as he had to check up, looking for a pass into turn 3. Gordon continues to lead out front. Bobby Allison on fresh tires, just a lap down, not trying too hard, I think, to get by these leaders and ruin their race, but I don't know if he has the pace to get by either. He's really struggling with that aerodynamic disadvantage on the right front, and surprised they have not addressed that during any of these pit stops. Here's Logano. He's pulling away. By Labonte down into turn 1. 8.7 back of the leader. 0.2 slower, about quarter second slower actually that lap. Here's your leader, Jeff Gordon, 10 seconds back of the field. Be the first time lapping cars this entire race, so I could see that shortly after our next pit stop. Some traffic ahead for the leaders. Across the bricks, 24 continues the lead. Very solid there. Oh, don't even see another car on the track in front or behind right now. He is just that dominant at the moment. He's closing in on the lap cars, but early his own time zone, just no mistakes so far. Knock on wood. Home track for the 24. The lead now ballooning to 9 seconds. Wow. 0.15 quicker that time by. Looks like maybe. Yeah, Keselowski. He's pulling away a bit now on Bobby Allison. And cars are stacking up behind the lapped car of the 12. And here goes Dale Jarrett on a move on David Pearson. Nicely done by the 88. On lap 88, no less. Pearson, though, not done. Gets right back by on the outside. That was incredible. I think it even caught Dale Jarrett off guard a bit. Pit stops are underway. Bobby Labonte's down. Jeff Gordon's here. And that shuffles Keselowski now to the lead for the time being. believe Keselowski is pitting here this lap. Yeah, there he goes. Hamlin, Pearson, Jarrett, Kowicki. Kyle Larson's already stopped. And there's Dale Sr. I don't know that anyone else has stayed out. There's Kyle Busch. He's exiting pit lane in a ton of traffic. Just looking for Bobby Labonte. There he is. Gordon looking on Richard Petty. Petty's got a pit probably this lap. So this is a little dicey at the moment. And meanwhile, we mentioned we might see live traffic soon, and it's right after pit stop, so like we called it. They lose enough time in those pit stop exchanges that all of a sudden they're right in the leader's lap. Gap to Jeff Gordon and Bobby Labonte now 9.5 seconds. Bobby was quicker that lap. And then 5 seconds for him back to Joey Logano. So really able to extend that gap. This is where the next race is Keselowski and Rusty Wallace for 4th. And you got Pearson and Jarrett running for 6th. Cale Yarborough, last car on the lead lap, about to go a lap down. Very shocking turn of events here. 3/10 slower at the moment. Closing in on halfway. Pit strategy, not too much of a factor yet. The cars are spread out all across the track right now. All 40 still running, few with damage, kind of put them out of contention. But Kyle Busch is no joke, right ahead of this group of cars and in serious danger of going a lap down. Double points are at stake, so seen about 21 laps on a fuel tank, so you can already start thinking, how are you going to play this for the rest of the race? Just keeping an eye on Jeff Gordon and Cale Yarborough. This could slow the 24 down a bit. Not that it'll bring Bobby Labonte back into the picture, as he is 10 seconds off the lead. Could shorten the gap a little. As Bobby Labonte himself will have to go through this same traffic at some point. It's not going to be enough to catch him back up. And Cale Yarborough got to be thinking, what happened today? Oh, and a lap down at Indianapolis before the halfway point. Not what he was hoping for. I believe that's Dale Sr. down pit lane. A little off sequence with his incident. Oh, running high. There goes Gordon. Cale Yarborough battling hard. He's not going to let Gordon get it that easy. And Gordon has to regroup and give it another shot. You know what? Bobby Allison has closed the gap about a second. See if Gordon can get him here. Cale Yarborough making it super difficult. So now the gap's down to 8 seconds. That last lap was a 55.8. My goodness, that is very off pace. 55.8 to 54.79 on Bobby Allison. So a second difference that time around. Same for Logano and Keselowski. Line of cars here in front of Cale Yarborough. Gordon knows he needs to get by and start picking them off, but Cale Yarborough making it very difficult here at Indianapolis. That high line working well and being able to get the run down the backstretch. Can he do it again? A little further back this time, though. Gordon should be clear of the 28. Wow. Cale, not sure what happened, but he lost a lot of time off turn 2 there. Just about halfway into this thing. A lot of side-by-side up ahead. Look at this, Kyle Busch. Knows he needs to get around and start moving forward because Jeff Gordon, he's coming. See him right in the background now. 18 car trying to get clear off of 2. Cuts the 4 off. No, cannot. Almost contact. Side by side now. Door handles into 3. Irvin not gonna give up. Kyle Busch a little loose, but clears through the short chute. 1.9 seconds now up ahead to Bubba Wallace, and that should be clear for Kyle Busch. Now Gordon, he's got a plethora of cars up ahead, and see that Jeff Burton looked like he might have gotten to the wall. On board with Jeff Gordon. Starting lap 100. It'll be 100 to go next time by.
Track temp is up by 4.5 degrees in the last 1 hour 42.
And put us halfway into this race. Huge run off of 2. Looks like Gordon should clear his pseudo teammate in Ken Schrader. Pushing Bobby Allison down the back stretch into 3. Schrader not giving up the position yet. But has to back out through the short chute. Traffic clearing up for the 24 for the moment. But yeah, here we are. 100 laps to go at Indy across the line. Let's take a look at the field as they all come by. In turn 1, that was your leader, Jeff Gordon. Here comes second place, Bobby Labonte. Followed by third, Joey Logano. And you see Keselowski, Rusty Wallace continue to round out the top 5. Back with Jeff Gordon as you saw the whole field come through. Gordon got by Allison and now looking at Jeff Burton, Ernie Irvan, and then you got Kyle Busch. You're focused on Bubba Wallace, but as much as he's doing to get by and through the field, Gordon is flying right now. Considering the traffic he has in front of him. He's going to be by these guys a lot easier than Cale Yarborough. Bobby Labonte closing the gap. It's down to 5.4. But like we said, he's still got to get through the same traffic that Gordon has had to deal with. Been able to maintain his lead over third place, though. Joey Logano not been able to close up at all. Off turn 2, nice run. Could he get down into turn 3 with a side draft? Looks like it's going to work to his advantage and clear Jeff Burton into 3. Nice pass by the 24. Bobby Allison's going to make a move too and move up another spot. Take advantage of any opening you can, and Burton left the door open long enough that 28 followed right through. Gordon now clear of Ernie Irvan, 2.5 seconds up ahead to the points leader, Kyle Busch. This is huge. Double points at stake here in this race, and our reigning champion, current points leader, on the ropes. This race will set the tone for the rest of the season, and it is possible to come back from because we do have other double points races as well, but you'd rather start out ahead and not have to claw your way back. Gordon is going about a second a lap quicker, so he'll be there very shortly to the rear bumper of Kyle Busch, and then what's going to happen there? Track temp continues to climb. Still not super hot out there. About 11:42 local time in Indianapolis. Up to 83 degrees though Fahrenheit on the track surface. .7 seconds the gap from Jeff Gordon to Bobby Labonte, who slowly making his way to these lap cars. And right now, Cale Yarborough, you'll be thinking, I'm not even in the lucky dog position. And what is it going to take to salvage this day? Last on track. It was Denny Hamlin running in 11th with the 11 car. 20 seconds off the lead. Running behind Tony Stewart in 10th. It's looking to get back into the top 10 after leading much of the early part of this race. Pseudo teammate here in the Home Depot number 20 got his teammate up front in second, trying to keep pace with the 24 of Jeff Gordon, but realistically right now he's in another time zone. Getting by Kyle Petty, rather quickly disposed of him. Now Kyle Busch desperate to get by Bubba Wallace here in turn 2. Gonna try to see if he can make that stick off of 2. He got a good run. You just sense the desperation in that 18 car right now to stay ahead of Jeff Gordon, as pit stops will be occurring here momentarily. That is not good news for Kyle Busch, honestly. Like, these pit stops do not tend to work out in the favor of drivers in traffic battling for position like this. You get held up in the pits as other cars are entering and exiting their stalls. Gordon closing up on Bubba Wallace, looking to the inside now in turn 3. He's there. And Bubba not gonna put up much of resistance for the 24. It looks like 24 is actually pitting anyway. Surprised he didn't just kind of hang back, but there he is. See what the 24 pit crew can do. Bobby Labonte down pit lane. Here comes Logano. Imagine we'll see him. Keselowski, though, does have an extra lap compared to everyone else. He stays out. And that could come into play later. Into turn one with the 06 machine. A lot of cars just got their laps back. They're praying for a caution right now. Down and away, there goes Jeff Gordon. Coming out into clean track. No one in front or behind him. That is perfectly done. Richard Petty here. Gonna be pitting probably this time by. I think the big thing right now is, where does Kyle Busch cycle out? This could be championship deciding. To say championship implications. Hang in the balance. Kyle Busch on his way out, and he is not up to speed. Here he is on the inside. He's going to go a lap down. Wow. There it is. Your points leader and last year's champion, Kyle Busch, down a lap here at Indy. '29th at the moment. Not sure what else to say, what he can do to make this situation any better, but he's struggling right now. Gordon in pursuit now of Harry Gant. Back to a 10-second lead for Jeff Gordon over Bobby Labonte. He must have had a terrible stop. One thing I'm noticing though, I do not have eyes on Joey Logano. Back to 7. Must have been a terrible stop for the 22. Yeah, that advances Keselowski up to 3rd. And then you see Bobby Labonte in 2nd. Still ways back from Jeff Gordon. Right now, Gordon's in cruise control and just praying this all continues to go according to plan. Sorry for the camera work here. We're back to the leader. Tracking down Harry Gant and Clint Boyer for their 28th to 27. Put them a lap down. Been able to pick up a few spots themselves with the way things worked out in that caution earlier. So guys like Harry Gant, Clint Boyer, Neil Bonnet up ahead. Probably up about 5-7 spots higher than normal. See if they can hold those positions before the checker flag comes out in just about 85.5 laps time. 85 to go here across the line. Not making up a ton of ground on Harry Gant, which is a little surprising. And in fact, it seems as though Kyle Busch trying to get his lap back the traditional way. He's about a tenth or two faster each lap here as of the past few laps. Even Harry Gant's got a tenth and a half. See what happens. Gordon is just kind of conserving the car right now at this run. Knows how much time is left. He has a huge lead. Through the short chute. Bobby Labonte continues 10 seconds back. Keselowski and Rusty Wallace. This is the big story at the moment. Kyle Busch, your points leader, going a lap down here moments ago. Still technically the lucky dog. But this race only has had one caution so far for debris. So his odds of being the lucky dog and getting a caution simultaneously are very minimum. He needs to make sure he stays with Jeff Gordon and right on his bumper, so any car he passes, he can still be that first car on a lap down. Here's Bobby Labonte continuing in second. Huge run for Ken Schrader. Looks like he's going to come up the inside. Maybe Bobby had to check up with Cale Yarborough, it seems. Here's Keselowski trying on Jeff Burton. Can't get it done. Rusty Wallace in fourth. And Logano has made up one position on Kowicki to get back up to sixth. Let's take a look real quick here at our let's see where everyone started and where we're running. So Gordon started sixth. Bobby Labonte 10th. Rusty Wallace 31st up to a 4th. Definitely driver of the day at the moment. See, pole sitter Hamlin back to 8th. Dale Jarrett having a great run. Darrell Waltrip made his way almost up into the top 10. Now this is where we started seeing some of those guys having the bad run. Michael Waltrip up almost 20 positions. Good job for Ricky Rudd. Look at that. Kyle Busch 7th to 28th. Bill Elliott 5th to 32nd. Bobby Allison 11th to 37th. Even Cale Yarborough. Yeah, a lot of these guys just heartbreak all down the board. This time by 54.8s for both Logano and Kowicki. 54.9 for Denny Hamlin. 55.4 for Dale Jarrett. So Dale Jarrett's struggling a bit right now. Let's take a trip back up to the front of the field. We got Jeff Gordon. He's gotten by Harry Gant. Kyle Busch trying to stay close enough to get by Harry Gant as well. We are just now at 80 laps remaining. Gordon in full control of this race. Jeff Gordon, a 54.8 that time by. So closing up on Clint Bowyer. Bowyer about 0.6 slower that time. And then up ahead of Bowyer, you got Neil Bonnet. Plus Terry Labonte, who I think Terry does have a bit of damage and could really bring this pack of cars up ahead, really stack them up. But Kyle Busch now really looking on here again off of 4. I think he should be able to pass the 33 into turn 1. Big move for the 18. Back to the leader, Jeff Gordon. Seems like the gap between second and third is closing up a bit. They might be experiencing some of that lap traffic, and Cale Yarborough obviously a bit quicker even though he's back in the pack, and might be giving these guys a bit of a fit. Let's take a look. Oh, Bobby is by Cale, but sees now it's Brad's turn to try to get by. So Bobby is setting sail and trying to catch back up, close the gap to Gordon, at least to get it respectable, I would say. So right now, 12 seconds separate the leader from second. Kyle Busch. First car lap down. As Gordon sets his sights on Clint Bowyer, keep Kyle Busch at bay. Nice run off of 4. I think might be able to get along the side here for turn 1. Not quite enough though. Bowyer's gonna hold that line. Gordon pushes high. Bowyer holds it. It's going to bring Kyle Busch right back to the rear bumper here and get involved in this off of turn 2. The run the 18 had to check up a bit. And just needing to read that a little better and be close. Let off earlier so he could follow through on entry, but now at least in line with the 24. 75 remain. Gap continues to grow for Gordon. What a battle here. Not for position on track, but Gordon trying to get by a lap car Clint Bowyer, while Kyle Busch trying to pass for position on Bowyer, but also get his lap back from Jeff Gordon and be the first car lap down if need be. So a lot going on in this little 3-car battle. Not for position, but extremely important from various perspectives. And Kyle Busch, I think, finding a little speed in his car at the end of this run, trying to set up a pass on the DuPont 24, maybe off of turn 4. As Gordon is looking as well, he's going to have to check up. This is going to give Kyle a run. Kyle Busch is alongside. Pass doesn't back out. Maybe he had to check up a bit, though. What a race we have going on. Kyle Busch in 25th. Just think about that, what it's going to do to the championship. Should we see it remain the same? Even if Kyle gains 5 spots, say up to 20th or so, it's a massive impact. Still no wins on the season for last year's champion either. So that is very alarming at this juncture. Jeff Gordon, he does not have a win yet either. He is currently 13th in points. So here's Gordon again, sizing up Bowyer, bit of a checkup. He's gonna have to check up again, and Kyle Busch has got a decent run off of 2. Pit stops beginning to creep into everyone's mind. Calculators are out, every pit box is out there. Here again, closing back up on this trio. The marbles there in turns 1. I was going to say turns 1 and 2, but you had turn 1, and then you see it also in turn 2. Really starting to gather here. It's a long, long green flag run, nearly, I think, 100 laps or so. Caution came out lap 45, so long green flag run here at the Brickyard, and that was anticipated. It's what we saw last year. Kyle Busch knows he's in a good spot. He'd like to be in a better spot, though. Really make Gordon have to be the one on offense, and or on defense even. Look at that, he's going to the inside here in 3. I don't know if he has enough to make it stick, but Gordon slides. Tires might be giving up on the 24. Side by side off of 4. Trying to get back on the lead lap. 69 laps remain at the line. Kyle Busch, Jeff Gordon, 1st and 25th. Kyle Busch just trying to get his lap back and could not do it. He's got to back out and regroup. Meanwhile, Clint Boyer been able to scoot away a bit. Bobby Labonte 10 seconds back. So cut about 4 seconds off in the last 10 laps, but I think Gordon might be hitting pit lane here. Let's take a look. Indeed. I think Kyle Busch was also. Here's Bobby. Bobby's going to pit lane. I'll send us back to Rusty Wallace. I'm seeing pit lane. Keselowski staying out. And hearing reports of debris on the track. Here on lap 133.
Yellow.
Yep. Caution is out. Few cars had to pit. Trying to clear those. Keselowski now inherits the lead.
Pace car rolling out.
And Kyle Busch will be the lucky dog. Dale Jarrett currently second. See all these guys come down pit lane. How this shakes out after everyone pits will be extremely interesting. I don't know really where anyone is running at the moment. Here comes Brad Keselowski off of 4. Should make the turn down pit lane. Jimmie Johnson, he's out here.
Number 05, Terry Labonte, has a black flag. Bonnet got a black flag. 33rd position, car 18, Kyle Busch, is black flagged.
So here's Jeff Gordon. Now back out front with Bobby Labonte going to be second. And here's Kyle Busch going to get waved around back on the lead lap. Massive moment. Potentially a championship defining and saving moment. Now it's a matter of how many positions can he salvage from this. I wouldn't call it gift, but it's nearly a gift. So Gordon, Labonte, Logano, Kawicki, Pearson, Rusty Wallace. Wow. See Tony Stewart, Truex Jr., Hamlin, Kenseth. That's your top 10.
Hang on, we're not going green.
Here's the front of the field. Take a look. See the top 5 rows are settled in, and we've got one more lap under pace car and go back green at lap 138. From there, it is going to be a blistering finish. Track heating up. Gordon, Labonte, Logano, Alan Kawicki, Pearson, Rusty Wallace. Who's going to come out on top here? We've seen Logano and Bobby Labonte up front quite a bit. Gordon just dominating this race. We know the outside line has been very difficult on these restarts. I'm sorry, the outside line. Sometimes that inside line does get a little stacked up. Does still outweigh the negatives, though. The one to go at the line. So we got 28 cars still on the lead lap. And good 37 still in contention, only a lap down. From there you have Terry Labonte, Dale Earnhardt Sr., and Chase Elliott with damage so far. Still out there running. Same can be said for Cale Yarborough and Bobby Allison. They've got banged up cars and just trying to keep it all together out there. Try to get as many points as they can before it's said and done. You see Cale and Bobby Allison well back in the field. All right, green flag this time by. Everyone's back in line. Unfortunately, one casualty of that caution, I would definitely say, goes to Keselowski. So you see he is back there now, about 12th. Also, Dale Jarrett. Those guys stayed out an extra lap and really kind of got stuck out. No one else pitting. And here we are, coming up on 50 to go. It is closing up quick. Fuel mileage, tire wear, points,
Get ready.
all at stake here. Crew chiefs are going to be busy here the next 60 plus laps. Pace car's pulling in.
Pace car entered the pit.
And back under green flag racing, Jeff Gordon takes him to the yard of bricks. Bobby Labonte's got a good start. Looks like he should hold second, and he will, closing off any battle from Logano. In fact, bringing the battle back to Gordon on the outside. Might hurt the 18. He might probably want to get to the bottom while he could, but gets a good run off of 2. Drafting behind Jeff Gordon. Hopefully he can remain second here. And he will. Joey Logano hoping he can keep third. Close battle there with Rusty and Tony Stewart. Oh, checkup. Almost got into Kowicki. Stewart has to go low. 3 wide in 3, or turn 4. Logano looking on Bobby Labonte. Track temps coming down with this cloud cover right now. Just smoothest restart I think we've had of the day. Not allowing a huge advantage at the front. The top 4 keeping it nice and clean. And Logano's gonna look on Bobby Labonte, it looks like. That's for second. Does not want to see that 24 get any smaller in his windshield. Yeah, Logano's going to clear off of 3. Looking quick. See if Pearson has anything for Bobby Labonte to grab that last spot on the podium. There's your leader, Jeff Gordon. Joey Logano in second, Bobby Labonte third. And from there on back, it's to top 7 or 8 in line, and double file. Even triple file. Ooh, sideways here through the exit of turn 1. A lot of checking up here. Keselowski got to be thinking, why am I even back here? What happened? Just bad luck, bad racing luck. Dale Jarrett's center 3 wide through 3. They're getting it done. To the bottom. Dale Jarrett, I think he might have picked up a spot there. Sometimes it's hard to see if you're racing for your life, just trying to survive, or trying to pick up positions, but Dale Jarrett doing everything he can now on that high line to get by Carl Edwards and focus back forward. Got a good run here through turn 2, but Edwards will close that off, and Bill Elliott up the inside. Now that outside is just death wish, death sentence. Hamlin trying to hold off 2 17 cars. Got Darrell Waltrip and Matt Kenseth back and forth for 10th. Hamlin now clear for 9th. Up ahead, Martin Truex Jr. in 8th. See him trying to catch up to Rusty Wallace. Then you got Alan Kowicki in 6th, following Tony Stewart. This is for 5th. Close battle there. Pearson now running all by himself in 4th, while Bobby Labonte tries to keep tabs with Joey Logano. It's closing a little bit on our leader, Jeff Gordon. Under 60 laps to go. Sun back out down the front stretch. Great shot of these cars coming down into turn 1. Joey Logano, a little quicker each lap than our leader. See what we got this time by. 54.2, almost identical. Jeff Gordon saying, I'd like to be maybe a tenth or so quicker each lap, and just not getting the pace he needs. Let's ride along with 4th place. David Pearson. Take a good view of the top 3 as they try to figure it out here in the last 50 laps. And if Pearson, maybe if he can be a part of it and get up in the mix. Go for a lap here with the 17. Little feather of the throttle there in turn 2. That lap, Jeff Gordon quickest of the top 5. See what kind of lap times we get here. That time by Bobby Labonte. He's closing the gap a bit on Logano. And they were about a tenth quicker than Jeff Gordon on that lap. So these cars are all very comparable right now in lap times and pace. It'll come down to pit stops. I'm not sure we'll see lap traffic again in this race. Here's Kyle Busch in 28. Just a sea of cars in front of him. We'll stay with Terry Labonte up on the high side and how this all plays out. You see a lot of cars have already gotten away from this traffic in single file. So is the very end of the field that single file's out last. And sometimes it can take a long time and you just lose a lot of speed and track position doing this. Earnhardt Sr. trying to stay in front of Bubba Wallace despite being many laps down. So I got Terry Labonte up here. And Kyle Busch just nowhere to go. Back up front. Let's check our lap times again. Almost identical. Bobby Labonte lost a little time, as did David Pearson, running a little high there in turn 1. I think the tires are starting to go at the end of this run, and you think another 5 laps, maybe 7, puts him at 155, and you make it to another 175. I don't know if you can make it to the finish from there. So now, fuel save becomes a big factor. You think Brad Keselowski, Dale Jarrett, those guys really able to save fuel earlier. Looks like Logano got a bit of pace here. That was a good lap for the 22. It's pulling away from Bobby Labonte. Jeff Gordon also seemingly finding another gear here. And remember, double points today, so every position matters twice as much. A win just nets so many points here. Be interesting to see how it shakes out when it's said and done, but being that Kyle Busch is currently running 28th and literally the last car on track, last car in the lead lap, and just cannot get by anybody at the moment, he's not gonna walk out of here with the points lead. That'll be the first time I think Kyle Busch will not be leading the points in this series, probably since this point of the season last year. He didn't necessarily dominate the 2023-2024 season, but he did not relinquish that title or points lead for maybe much more than a race, if even that. Here we go, 24 car, putting down some pretty solid laps while we were going over some of the drama from today. 54.7 last time, 0.4 quicker than Logano. It looks like he's even quicker this lap. Yeah, another point, another 10th at least. So you're starting to see the tire wear amongst the top 5. Got Bobby Labonte and Tony Stewart, 2 Joe Gibbs cars in the top 5. A good day for their team. Kyle Busch bringing up the rear of the field, 23 seconds off the lead. It's just about half a track back right now. Do not believe we will see lap traffic at that rate. And if we do, it might be in the last 10 or so laps. Logano had a few laps where he lost ground on Jeff Gordon, and just has not been able to claw back yet. Go look at the field here. Kyle Busch maybe made up a spot or two. You saw at the tail end of the field. And Jeff Gordon continues to lead. Should have pit stops momentarily. Take a quick break and be right back. And back from our break, right here with a live action out of the pit stops. Logano getting by Jeff Gordon for the lead. Came in 2 laps earlier. Wow, what a pass. Under pit stops, gets by Gordon, pitting 2 laps early. And you even see back here, Tony Stewart, he pit earlier. Almost got by Bobby Labonte. This is the battle, though. Logano and Gordon for the win. There's going to be one more stop at least. I don't know that Bobby and Tony have enough to keep pace with these two. Gordon just sawing the wheel into turn 3. His tires are fresh, coming up to temp. It's going to have a great shot here into turn 1, I think. Maybe if not down the back stretch. Logano, I think he got credit for that lap. And that may have been part of the strategy, just getting some bonus points. And worth double. There goes Gordon, high side, fresher tires for the lead. Side by side down the backstretch. Off turn 3 into the short chute. Gordon gets it done. Wow, those fresher tires making a big difference. Let's check these lap times. 54.6 to a 55.4. I'm sure even next lap will be more telling. Bobby Labonte putting a gap between himself and Tony Stewart, so good to see that from the 18 team. Kyle Busch continues in 28th. 4 seconds out back of the next car. And now here we are, 40 laps to go. Top 4 in your shot. Top 5 now with Rusty Wallace coming off turn 4. 2 Gibbs cars trying to close the gap on Jeff Gordon and Joey Logano. Gordon might not be achievable, but I think Bobby Labonte could maybe get to Joey Logano. Two Gibbs cars, classic paint jobs. Team that won a lot of races in the early 2000s, late 90s. Tony Stewart looks like he's got a bit more speed, maybe. Not a great lap, I don't think, for Labonte there. See, Logano comes across 54.5. Yeah, about a 10th and a half off that time. So Logano trying to find his rhythm. Lost about 0.2 that time to Jeff Gordon. The thing is, too, with Logano, he pit so early, I really think it takes out any possibility of making it on one more stop. I think Gordon and Bobby Labonte will be right at that mark. Then you have drivers like Carl Edwards, who actually went longer too. Let's check with Carl Edwards. I want to see who is in that group. Alright. Carl Edwards, yeah. I think he can make it on one more stop here in this 60 car. Even the likes of maybe Harry Gant, Dale Jarrett, we mentioned him earlier in his fuel saving. Bill Elliott's back here. Keselowski could salvage his day after, I understand, feeling a bit robbed. See how that plays out. If you're Gordon, I think you gotta start thinking about lifting early into these corners. Gain some of that fuel mileage back while you have a gap. 2 seconds right now, you can afford it. And there's the gap remaining between, I believe I thought we were back on air, so I'm not sure how long the mic has been on or off, but what I'm noticing is Carl Edwards could probably make it on one more stop. Joey Logano cannot. Gordon and Labonte on the bubble. I think at this rate, Carl Edwards is in the driver's seat to win this race. It's going to take some serious saving from Jeff Gordon. And I'm not sure if it was picked up, but if you start rolling out of the throttle early, save some gas. He has a 2-second lead on Logano. Nobody is coming for his lead. Got the top 4 all there in your shot with Rusty now. The top 5. This was the site of Jeff Gordon's last actual career NASCAR win, and would be his first win of the 2025-2026 campaign. 35 laps remain. It's gonna be close. Whew. Crew chief's scrambling right now. But we also have cars like Dale Jarrett, who we mentioned earlier, in the running with that fuel mileage. Harry Gant even has an opportunity. Brad Keselowski. You know, there's a lot of drivers there that can turn a mediocre day into something quite amazing. I'd say a win here, even just a top 10, does wonders for your season. A win, though, could vault you into the championship conversation. Gordon continuing to pace the field. Really good lap that time by 0.2 quicker than Logano. Fastest car of the top 4. Watch as the rest of the field comes by here. Now, I did mention earlier I was not sure we would see lap traffic before the end of this race. However, with 32 laps to go, 12 seconds ahead, that puts us in a very similar position to earlier, where I think where we get the pit stops, they will come out into lap traffic, and these cars are closer than they were earlier. We had a 10-second lead basically for Gordon at that time, but now only 2 seconds. It's going to make it much more interesting if we see
Weather
some
update.
slower cars.
Track temp risen to 89 degrees Fahrenheit in the last 1 hour and 10.
Yeah, track temperature continuing to rise as we are now at 12:47 local time here in Indianapolis. Getting to that hot point of the day, sun directly above. Had clouds in and out throughout the race, but heating up right now as we come by with 30 laps to go. And who can make it? Gonna have to really stretch these fuel tanks. I think if can make it 23 laps. That's another 9. Even just 8 laps could be enough. Wow. I think it puts him right at the number. Gap is now 2.8 back to Logano. See Tony Stewart dropping back a bit. That time by another 3/10 for the 24. Bobby Labonte, bit quicker that time by than Logano. Could be the battle that remains in this quartet. All the rubber just all over the noses of these cars as we are really closing in on that final 50 miles of this race. Now a 3-second lead. 9 seconds up to lap traffic. He's building the gap, but also getting closer to the lap traffic at the same time. The 26 to go at the line. Some cars getting close on their fuel tanks, including the 22. Gordon Vernon, Bobby Labonte, I think, are going to be able to make it. And then from there, Carl Edwards, he's up to 9th now. It's fine, Carl. Closing up on Earnhardt Jr. Fresher tires by significant amount, 5 or 4 laps here. Imagine we'll see Edwards get a good run into turn 1. Giving the 8 a mirrorful through the short chute. Definitely going to have a run off of 2. 60 car looking fast here. Not only is he gaining these spots because of the fuel strategy, he's got a lot of pace in this car. Trying to close off the front bumper of the 8. He does so. Now back up front again. Gotta keep our tabs on the leaders. Tony Stewart 4th, Bobby Labonte 3rd. Trying to close on Joey Logano. Logano's pitting. He's coming down. Let's see. Be 24 to go. That's not going to be enough. Logano's going to have a rough finish. Be 23 to go. He pit next time. How is this handled by the leaders? I think you got to go at least one more lap, and then from there, 22 laps on a tank is manageable. Gordon's going around one more. I think he'll be safe. Here's Labonte. Tony Stewart can't do it. Rusty Wallace staying out. See Kenseth, Pearson, Carl Edwards. Down the backstretch, 24 car. See if he comes in this lap. One more would make it a sure thing. But he is pitting here. I would feel a lot more comfortable with an extra lap, I know that. Does anybody stay out? Rusty can't. Dale Jr., he's already pit. Kenseth can't do it. Pearson's down. Edwards staying out. That's where it's at. Edwards and Dale Jarrett. These guys are going to be able to take a less fuel on their stop. And this is interesting. Carl Edwards leads. Got the King right in front of him. Already made his stop. Looked like a little damage on Darrell Waltrip there. Yeah, front end. Let's take a look at that in post-race. Carl Edwards continues to stay out, and he's getting the draft from these guys. Not so much air disturbance, it's pulling him along. He's put a lot of time between himself now and Dale Jarrett. Which was significantly closer about halfway through this run. So yeah, Carl Edwards, just a master clinic right now on saving fuel. And it'll be 20 to go this time by. Biffle and Waltrip battling right in front of the leader at the moment, Carl Edwards. Now here's Keselowski. What does he do? Pit lane. There he comes. Clint Boyer. There's Jeff Gordon now, out front. Gonna re-inherit the lead. Bobby Labonte got by Joey Logano. Wow. Logano with another poor stop. Tony Stewart also not a good stop. He's back in 5th. So now it's a matter of, can these guys make it to the finish? If so, this is going to be your finishing order. I don't imagine 4.5 second gaps being closed. Rusty might be able to get Joey Logano. He's got fresher tires. Lap traffic maybe a bit too far off for him. Kyle Busch up to 27th. So did gain 1 spot by getting his lap back. Let's take a look at Carl Edwards, where he emerged from pit lane in front of Truex Jr. That's an 8th. Now he's got a 1.5 seconds up to Pearson. Goes high, and Truex might actually get this spot in turn 4. So side by side into turn 1. Edwards does not want to relinquish this spot. It's vital for track position and, you know, making your way back through the field with his fuel strategy. Albeit not a huge advantage, but it is enough to potentially get him a couple more spots. Oh wow, what a move by Truex now to the high side. And again, looks like Edwards going to get in front. Takes a bit of a defensive line down the front stretch. Truex really quick on slightly older tires. Able to give Carl Edwards a bunch of trouble. we go. Kenseth now looking on. Tony Stewart is for 5th. Top 5's just as important as podiums in some cases. I can't quite get by. Here's Logano. 55.1. Bobby Labonte. And another 4 seconds up to our leader, Jeff Gordon. Only 15 laps remain here at the start-finish line. All comes down to this. Does Gordon have enough fuel to get to the end? Bobby Labonte lurks rather far off in the distance, but I'm sure Gordon's keeping a close eye on where he's at every once in a while. Jeff Gordon cruising 1/10 quicker that lap. Comes off turn 4. Shadows starting to grow again. Temperatures dropping. Through turn 2. Got about a 1.5 up to lap traffic. I don't believe it'll be enough to give Bobby Labonte time to catch up. So running 55.5 second laps here. That's about half a second a lap. Just he's too far back from Gordon. Cross the line another time. 24. He's led a monstrous amount of laps here today. Gotta be over 100. See the front end of that car just raise up on entry to these corners, and exciting to see the physical reaction of the chassis itself. Just jumping. Not a good lap last time by for Bobby Labonte. He's losing a significant amount of time now to Jeff Gordon, and in fact, about as quick as the lap cars. He might be conceding that he is going to finish second here today. Joey Logano, I don't think he's going to make it. So that's one more spot for a few of those guys. Rusty Wallace might get away with a podium. There's the Miller Lite Ford. Behind his pseudo teammate, Joey Logano. Probably the closest gap we have on track right now. Maybe Tony Stewart and Kenseth a little close as well. Stewart holding on to 5th. Keeping Kenseth at bay after that initial charge out of the pits. Here's Gordon now. He's to the rear end of Neil Bonnet. 5.5 seconds the gap back to Bobby Labonte, and 10 laps to go. Now nearly 6 seconds. Gordon goes to the high side. Bonnet blocks him off. Big checkup for Gordon. Costs him some momentum. Not going to be able to get a run here off of 2. And have to hang in line again for another lap around. If it goes like this, I would say it's not out of the question Bobby can get back in it. But the odds of it remaining like this, very slim. Gordon going low. Inside on Neil Bonnet. Door to door across the line. That's one spot. Looks like he'll clear into 1. Yeah, gets a good run on Michael Waltrip off of 2. He could definitely have him alongside going into 3. Logano just watching his fuel pressure right now. That fuel pressure gauge is screaming red. Here's Bobby Labonte running second. Tony Stewart, Kenseth. Here's Pearson, Truex, and Carl Edwards. Edwards and Truex have been going at it this whole run. Very comparable cars here. Eight laps to go. Truex should have enough. I think the only car we're really concerned about here in the top 10. Yeah. Tony Stewart maybe, but really it's just Joey Logano. So here he is. Let's keep an eye on the 22. Yeah, 7 laps to go. It would be the furthest he's taken a fuel run this entire race. I just don't see it happening. Now Gordon, coming off of turn 4, has Ernie Irvan within a second ahead. Been an incredible race here today. Like I mentioned, just an iconic track. Historic. It's another page in the history books here for the Stock Car Championship Series that will continue on and on. Almost 5 laps remaining. No fuel saving here. Pretty sure Gordon's got it. Can you hear the crowd each time as he makes his way by? Huge fan favorite. 5 laps remaining at Indianapolis. Gordon's counting it down. Less than 5 seconds back to second. No pressure though. Logano can only muster so much more out of this fuel tank. Gordon to the inside on Irvin. Just trying to continue to move forward in these final laps. Does put another insurance marker between himself and Bobby Labonte. He's 4.5 back. Irvin making it a little difficult. Here's Bobby Labonte, 4.4 back. Bit of defensive driving from Irvin, almost makes contact with the leader here into turn 3. Oh my. That would have been huge. 4 seconds now, the gap, 3.5. Oh my gosh. Ernie Irvin not giving up easily. Now clear. 3 laps to go for the 24. Probably raises heartbeat a bit. Three and a half seconds the gap to Labonte. Logano remains on track, but I anticipate we'll see him down pit lane this time by. And it'll be 2 to go for Jeff Gordon's first win of the year and a massive win here at the Brickyard for his trophy case. Yeah, Logano down pit lane. Couldn't quite stretch it enough. Meanwhile, Gordon and Labonte, Rusty Wallace, these guys nailed their lap. They need to make it to, I think Stewart's going to have to pit with white flag out. Like, oh man. Still 3.5 seconds. A lot of traffic right now for Gordon, but just got to ride in line. I think he'll be okay. Through 3 and 4, 1 to go at the line. Yeah, white flag is out. 2.5 miles left to glory here at Indianapolis for the 24 team. Bobby Labonte running a strong second. It's going to be a huge day for his championship hopes. But all eyes on the 24 as he looks to climb back into the championship hunt. Points leader Kyle Busch with a terrible run. Very unexpected here. The results at Indianapolis. However, I don't think it was out of anyone's mind that Jeff Gordon would be atop the podium when it was all said and done. And here we are. Jeff Gordon across the yard of bricks. He's your winner at the Brickyard 500. What a race for the 24 team. See, the car cars as they make their way by. Tony Stewart was able to finish, so he comes home 4th. Kenseth 5th. There's Pearson 6th. Truex 7th. Edwards 8th. Kurt Busch 9th.
Sector 3 slow. That's in Sector 1.
And Dale Jarrett in 10th. What a win for Jeff Gordon. Started 6th, finishing 1st. Again, his first win of the year.
Slow Sector 1.
See, Bobby Labonte from 10th finishes 2nd. Rusty Wallace, driver of the day, starting 31st, finishing 3rd. Great run for him. Tony Stewart and Matt Kenseth rounding out the top 5. David Pearson, Martin Truex Jr., Carl Edwards, Kurt Busch, Dale Jarrett. That's your top 10.
The entire track is really slow now.
Carl Edwards, Kurt Busch, and Dale Jarrett all started 24th, 25th, and 26th, finishing 8th, 9th, and 10th. Kevin Harvick started 29th and finished 11th, so great run for him. Some cars that hope to have better days. Bill Elliott and Alan Kulwicki both finishing outside the top 10. Keselowski had a good run going, finishing 16th, probably had a top 5 car. Same could be said for Denny Hamlin, who started on pole. Richard Petty, up and down day. Harry Gant, shotgun on the field, finishes 19th. Joey Logano, 3rd to 22nd, not what he was hoping for. Kyle Busch, points leader, 7th to 26th. You see Cale Yarborough back here, 35th. Bobby Allison also 34th. Earnhardt Sr. 39th. Chase 40th. Rough day for some of these guys, but not for one in particular. Jeff Gordon, your winner here at Indianapolis in the Brickyard 500. Next race will be at Iowa Speedway. Be in a few weeks' time, as we will do the IndyCar Legend Racing Series European Swing. So we'll be back with the Stock Car Championship Series in November. But this is a huge shakeup in the points. We'll get it all sorted out for you for the next race. In the meantime, let's go ahead and take a quick look at any incidents that took place here today. Here's Cale Yarborough on lap 3. It's loose up into Gordon. Back across. Hits Chase Elliott. That was a real scary moment there. And here, just a few laps later, Chase gets used up by Tony Stewart. And that's the end of his day, pretty much. Chase Elliott stuck up on the wall. Chain reaction. This is where it starts recognizing every lap as a caution or an incident. Did have someone go through the grass at one point. Let's see if we can find that. Might not show up here in replay. Definitely saw some tire marks in the grass though. Yeah, they were there by now. Alright, well, another great race in the books. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Jeff Gordon with the win. He was 13th in points, and that's his first win on the season. Rusty Wallace, driver of the day, his second driver of the day on the season. Also got it at Michigan. So good run for Rusty. Bobby Labonte as well will capitalize. He was 9th in points. Should see some new names towards the top here. Interesting to see who will be leading the standings when we get to Iowa. So be sure to tune in a few weeks' time. We'll be back with the IndyCar Legend Racing Series in 2 weeks. And finish off the Euro Swing. We'll start with Nürburgring and then the week later at Barcelona. But again, thank you all for tuning in. Have a great rest of your weekend, and we will see you next time.